I think it's pretty obvious at this point for the Jets and the Giants. They need help, and help is not on the way. Everybody, welcome aboard here to the Sports Talk Nation. Michael Cohen here with you. It is time for a Week 3 recap, or as may be the case for the Jets and the Giants, a chance to lament and vent for the week. Or as may be the case for the Buffalo Bills, who won their game against the Rams, a chance to take a deep breath after what was a crazy game, one of the crazier games of the day on Sunday. Now, we'll start things off with the Jets, and the reason I start with things off with the Jets is because of the story that came out Sunday morning. This coming out of ESPN and Chris Mortensen, saying that Adam Gase's performance is now catching the attention of, dare I say, the front office, which is now monitoring the situation. If the Jets, at least from the report that Mortensen put out, is that the front office is monitoring Gase's situation very closely, especially over the next couple weeks, and maybe something could be happening within the next week. That was the report coming in from Mortensen, which means, of course, the Jets playing the Colts today. They lost that game, got destroyed 36-7, and they play the Broncos again on Thursday night. The Broncos are in no good shakes themselves. With all the injuries they have, no Von Miller, no Drew Lock. They are a team that is bleeding right now as much as the Jets are 0-3. The Adam Gase watch is now fully in effect for the New York Jets. And let's be honest, Sunday did Adam Gase no favors, and it really did Sam Darnold no favors. Now, I know that the Jets don't have a lot of weapons right now. They have no receivers. They lost Mekhi Becton in this football game with his shoulder injury, and he didn't play the entire second half. So the Jets have a lot of problems. There are a lot of issues going around for Sam Darnold right now. It still doesn't excuse the interceptions that he threw on Sunday, two of which went back to the house for touchdowns, including one on the opening drive of the game to Xavier Rhodes, which he took back all the way back for a touchdown to make it 7-0 Indianapolis, and they never looked back. Yes, there were moments for the Jets in this game. Yes, the Jets did have a nice drive. Their second possession of the first quarter that resulted in a touchdown. And yes, there were signs of life from this offense early in the first half. That said, we saw nothing from the Jets in the second half of this game. The offense again continued to sputter, and they only managed 7 points for the game, and the defense got eaten alive by Indianapolis. Phillip Rivers did just enough, 217 yards passing. The Colts ran for a team combined 119 yards on the ground on 31 carries. They tore apart this Jet defense, which really did not play very well at all in this game. And again, Darnold, 3 picks, sacked a couple of times, did not look comfortable again in the pocket, and you have to sit there and wonder what's going on with this quarterback, at least for him anyway, because right now Rome is burning around him. The coach right now looks like he could be fired any day now, for that matter. There is a lot of speculation about whether the Jets believe or not believe in him. Of course, the fans have been debating it. Media has been debating about whether the Jets should tank for Trevor Lawrence, which if you saw my last video, I said, look, what's the difference one way or the other? The Jets have been a dystopian mess for quarterbacks for years, and I still certainly believe that, but Darnold did not do, at least from the face of this game, keeping it just to this game, did not do himself any favors, one iota, in this football game on Sunday. So there's a lot to be concerned about with the Jets. I think that if the Jets should lose, even if the Jets somehow find a way to win on Thursday against Denver, I don't think it matters. I think they have to end the Adam Gase era as soon as possible. It's not going to get any better. Even if, like I said, even if they find a way to win against Denver on Sunday, or Thursday rather, you know they're going to lose the ensuing week against Arizona. That's a good football team that comes in after that. There are not a lot of wins coming up for this Jet team. They don't have enough talent. They don't have enough weapons. And they certainly don't have the coaching to get it done. And right now, Adam Gase just doesn't have any answers. He just doesn't. They sit there and say they just could tell you until they're blue in the face that he's a offensive guru. We all know he is not. The record speaks for itself. It spoke for itself in Miami. It speaks for itself here. If the Jets do move on from Adam Gase this week, I would imagine Greg Williams would be the interim head coach for the rest of the year, if that indeed does come to pass. And then we're talking about different candidates, like an Eric Bieniemy. I've heard a lot of fans want him. There's other candidates out there that could get consideration as well. I hate to say the name Josh McDaniels, but don't be surprised if that's a name that gets thrown in the mix here as well. In spite of all the times despite the fact that he stabbed the Colts in the back once and was a disaster in Denver himself, don't be surprised if his name gets thrown in the mix because, well, it is the Jets we're talking about here, right? So the coaching carousel certainly starting to heat up a little bit in here just 3 weeks in. Not only have Gase on the hot seat, how about Dan Quinn in Atlanta? My goodness, blowing 2 games in a row where his team should have won the football game, including today against the Bears. Ooh, boy, okay. But Adam Gase may have some company on the hot seat in the next couple of days. He certainly does right now, for that matter. Moving right along, let's go to up north and let's talk about the Buffalo Bills and their thrilling. I mean, there's no really no other way to describe it. Thrilling victory over the Los Angeles Rams. This was a game that at one point looked over. I mean, it was 28-3, the infamous 28-3 score. And I don't know what it is, but every time you sit there and you see a 20-3 and say, they can't blow that, right? Those are just the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. They're not going to blow that. Oh, yes, they will. And then, of course, the Rams go right ahead and they get a touchdown. Jared Goff with a 1-yard run, and then Robert Woods with a 25-yard completion from Jared Goff for a touchdown, makes it 28-17. And then Cooper Kupp scores a touchdown, and they get a 2-point conversion to the Rams, and it's all of a sudden 28-25. And you're thinking, oh my God, they're going to blow it. And of course, the Rams then take the lead on the Darrell Henderson touchdown, make it 32-28. And it looks like the Buffalo Bills are about to go down in flames against the LA Rams, a very good LA Rams team, mind you. And the Bills find a way to pull it out. They did get a little bit of help with some huge penalties, especially at the end of the game. The pass interference penalty on 4th and 8 at the Rams' 13-yard line. And that gave the Bills new life with a 1st and goal at the 3-yard line. And, of course, Allen hitting Tyler Croft for the touchdown to end the ball game as the Bills pull it out 35-32. But you know what? For the Bills, they escaped. They got lucky. Okay, this was a game that they certainly, after dominating the first half of this game, dominating through into the third quarter of this game, blew big time. And the Rams came all the way back to take the lead in this game and probably feel they should have won this game. They probably, considering the Rams were on the road on the East Coast for the second straight week, that was a remarkable performance by them for that matter. But the Bills still escape. Still a big game for Josh Allen again. 311 yards passing, 4 more touchdown passes, and another touchdown run. He has been doing it all so far for the Bills in the early part of the season, as they are now 3-0, alone again at the top of the AFC East, a game ahead of the Patriots. Should the Bill fans be concerned about their team moving forward, especially coming off of a performance like this against the Rams where they almost blew the game? Yes, you should be, because there are certainly a lot of red flags there, especially when you have such a big lead and you can't hold it. That's a concern going for that matter. But they definitely have the franchise quarterback. They've put a lot of weapons around him. They have done everything they can to help Josh Allen succeed, and he certainly returned the favor at the end of that ball game for Buffalo, who will go to Las Vegas for their next game next weekend against the Raiders, as they try to get to 4-0. Finally, before we close it out, let's just go over to the Giants. And if the Jets had one of the more dismal performances of the week, certainly the Giants topped it off. Only 9 points for the Giants, all over the field goals. And, everyone has criticized Sam Darnold, right, over the first 3 weeks of the season. In many ways, rightfully so, especially after this performance against Indianapolis. But, no one's really kind of going after Daniel Jones. And I kind of mentioned, I've mentioned the last few weeks that this is a guy who's very inconsistent. Some days he's great. Some days he's not. Some throws he is spectacular. Other throws he just makes you scratch your head. And today was one of those days where he just did not have it. 2 more big turnovers. Another fumble that early in the ball game that hurt the Giants. Big time interception. 17 out of 32. 179 yards passing. And while yes, I understand it wasn't just him. This defense didn't play well for the Giants at all, but the 49ers had every excuse in the book. They had so many guys started coming into this game, including Jimmy Garoppolo, including Nick Bosa, and the Niners came in there and they smacked the Giants right in the face. Nick Mullins tore the secondary apart. He tore this defense apart, 343 yards passing. The ground game was effective enough. Big days from Brandon Ayuk and Kendrick Bourne in receiving. Both of those guys had over 65 yards in receiving for the 49ers. They had a huge day as they went 2 for 2 at MetLife Stadium, did the 49ers, as this game really wasn't even close. It really wasn't even close. The game kind of got blown open right there in the second quarter when the 49ers completed a 12-play, 75-yard touchdown drive that ended in a Jerick McKinnon 10-yard run to make it 16-6. That's pretty much where the game ended right there, and it was all 49ers after that, as the Giants again did nothing offensively for the rest of the day. And again, you have to sit there and wonder, is Daniel Jones the franchise quarterback of this team? And let me just pull up his stats here very quickly here for you. 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the season. He has lost 3 fumbles this year. That's just in the first 3 games of the season. And you really have to be concerned about the way he is protecting the football right now for the Giants. There's nobody behind him right now. I mean, unless you want to get crazy about Colt McCoy, there's nobody behind him that's going to come in there and challenge him for the starting job. So this is his job to lose. And yes, I understand he doesn't have a Saquon Barkley, but even with Barkley there, he has been inconsistent. And this was not a good performance for him. And certainly with a new first-year head coach, a team that's trying to evaluate him, Daniel Jones, in his second year, this was not a good day at all for him. So for the 2 New York City-based quarterbacks, man, it was a nightmare. Nightmare for Sam Darnold, a nightmare for Daniel Jones, and the Jets and Giants pretty close to losing by the same exact score. 36-7 for the Jets, losing to the Colts, 36-9. As the Giants lose to the San Francisco 49ers. The Giants will be in LA. Speaking of the Rams, they will be in LA to play the Rams on Sunday. That could get ugly as well. We all know how talented that Rams team is. So this is a Giant team that's staring down the barrel of 0-4, maybe 0-5 because they have the Cowboys after that. So it's going to be a bad start to the season for the Big Blue. As for the Jets, they will be, as I mentioned before, playing Denver on Thursday. Will that be curtains for Adam Gase? That is the question that we have to answer. So we could have some news, maybe not, towards the end of the week. Folks, leave your comments in the comments section below. What are your thoughts about the Jets, the Giants? If you're a Bills fan, you want to comment about that as well, go right ahead. Anything else that happened in week 3? It was a crazy week, a lot of crazy games. The Eagles tied with the Bengals. What was that about? My goodness, 23-23. We'll talk to you next time right here on the Sports Talk Nation. Remember to like and subscribe right here to the Sports Talk Nation here on YouTube. Remember, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/OpenMicProgram, and at OpenMicNJ on Twitter. We'll talk to you next time.